Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Vinayak Parmar, a student of second year Data Science Department. Today, we are gathered here for the webinar on Abroad Studies Part 2, organized by the Training and Placement Cell in association with Data Science Department of Lokmanya Tilak College of Engineering. And on behalf of them, I would like to welcome all the participants, our training and placement officer Prerna ma'am, and our eminent guest speakers for today's session. Mr. Anurag Agarwal, Mr. Rahul Shah, Mr. Vishal Mehta, and Ms. Karuna Warrior. I would also like to welcome our Vice Principal Sir, Subhash Shinde Sir, HOD of Data Science Department, Nandini ma'am, and other HODs and faculties from other department present here. I would like to request our training and placement officer, Prerna ma'am, to say few words.
Good afternoon, everyone present over here. On the behalf of Training and Placement Cell, first of all, I would like to thank Nandini Madam, HOD of Data Science Department, and all the student coordinators, TNP coordinators of Data Science, as well as all the Students Association coordinators for organizing this wonderful webinar, which is definitely going to provide a lot of benefits to the students, those who are planning to go for higher studies. I welcome Anurag sir, Rahul sir, and Vishal sir, who are our eminent speaker for today's webinar session. And I welcome you, sir, once again on behalf of Lokmanya Tilak College of Engineering, and invite you to begin with the webinar.
Thank you, ma'am. Hi,
Uh,
everyone. Good morning.
wait, Rahul, a little bit more. We need to introduce you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let us introduce you to the
Okay, go on.
students. Yes,
Now,
Vinayak, you can continue.
okay. Now I would like to request our Vice Principal Sir to say few words.
Thank you. My colleague, students, and today's speaker, Anuragji Rahul, who has given the valuable time for this webinar. First of all, I welcome each one of you for this today's seminar. Dear students, today we understand what are the facilities or what when we have to go to the abroad for the studies. Then how you what are the points we're supposed to be keep in the mind, and what are the solutions we're supposed to be get. And I'm sure Anuragji and Rahul, they will talk about the more about this, all your the queries, whatever the queries you have, and these queries can be resolved for today's the sessions. So once again, I thanks Anuragji, Rahulji, to given the valuable time, and I request to open this the forum for the discussion. And I congratulate Data Science Department to arrange the step of the webinars and upgrade the knowledge about the students. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Now let me introduce our speakers for today's session. Mr. Rahul Shah, who completed his Bachelor's of Computer Engineering Department in Lokmanya Tilak College of Engineering in 2006. After graduation, he started working as manual tester at eServer International, later acquired by TCS. He worked with TCS from 2006 to 2017. He was deputed to Canada in year 2013 on a work permit. In 2015, he became permanent resident of Canada and later took Canadian citizenship. He has got 15 plus years of work experience in banking domain. He is currently working with one of the bank in Canada as business analyst. Mr. Anurag Agarwal, who completed his bachelor's in mechanical engineering department of Bharati Vidyapit University, Pune in 2007. After graduation, he started working as manual tester at CTS from 2007 to 2009. He then worked as a nuclear power plant operation engineer in India from 2009 to 2015. In 2015, he came to Canada to do his MBA at McGill University. After graduation in 2017, he did small gigs here and there from almost a year before joining Bank of Montreal in 2018 as a business analyst for the payment processing technology group. He moved into product management role towards the end of pandemic in 2021 and right now is a product manager in Toronto-based payment startup called NanoPay. Mr. Vishal Mehta, who completed his bachelor's in computer engineering from Lokmanya Tilak College of Engineering in year 2006. After graduation, he started working as software developer in a small IT firm for 3 years, after which he moved to Accenture and started working in banking sector. While working, he did an executive MBA from NMIMS. Later, he moved to TCS in 2014, where he continued working for banking sector's clients and were deputed to London in 2018. Recently, he joined JP Morgan London and is working on a project for metals trading. Ms. Karuna Warrior, who did her bachelor's and master's in Spanish literature from Delhi University in 2014. She came to Canada to pursue her doctorate in Spanish literature from McGill University. After graduating in 2016, she got an opportunity and public relation coordinator at MindGig, Montreal. She held the position for 3 years, and after that she moved to Toronto recently in 2021. She is currently in paid advertising and media buying position at a developer code in a security startup. Over to you, Rahul sir.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm going to share my screen. We have a small presentation prepared. And I'll just, because you have already spoken about the introduction, I don't think we need a reintroduction. So let me just go ahead with the presentation. Someone confirm once you see my screen, okay?
Yeah, we can see it. I was just going to say, and folks, everyone.
Yeah, we can see it. We can see it. Yeah.
So yeah, can you guys hear me? No?
Yeah,
Yes.
Anurag, you have said something. Yeah.
Okay, so I was saying, folks, we want this to be an interactive session. So don't shy away from any questions that you have. If you have any questions and the session is ongoing, somebody's speaking, please feel free to actually post your questions in the comment chat, right? We'll pick those questions up, or you can always raise hands. You can see a pump in the Google Meet that can be used, and yeah, and just don't worry. There are no questions that's like that we cannot answer. At least I hope so. And if you don't have an answer, we can always connect later. This session is for you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
They will ask you.
Yeah,
You don't.
yeah,
They have a lot of things in mind.
and we'll yeah, and
Yes,
we'll try to help you guys with the best of our knowledge, whatever we know, because there's a lot of information out available on the internet, and a lot of it might be correct, a lot of it might be incorrect, or information. Sometimes it may happen. Some things are not updated. So whatever we have, we know we can help you to the best of our knowledge.
Okay.
And
Okay.
not least,
So
and last but not least, uh, don't use sir or anything. That's not the way the professional world works out here. We have to just use our first name. That's the very first lesson you guys will learn.
Anurag.
Yes.
In India, we don't have that habit of calling by names,
But the session is all about coming out of India, right? Like over here, even my CEO, his name is
Yeah.
Lawrence Cook. And I meet
Yeah,
him,
once
I
they
call
land up in your place, they will be calling you by your name. Let them call sir for the time being.
I'll leave it to that.
Yeah, yeah.
अनुराग को शायद इतना रिस्पेक्ट कभी मिला नहीं होगा इसके लिए he's
I
like
know it is right. It's going to be a cloud on the mind, sir.
Yeah,
that's okay.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
just setting up some ground rules. Vishal is based out in UK, so he will be talking more from UK point of view. Three of us, myself, Anurag, and Karuna, we are based out in Canada, so we can talk confidently about Canada. Uh, I would make a statement saying that because we are not from any other country, we do not have background. I would stay away from making any comment for other countries, for example, US or Australia or New Zealand. Second thing is that any question that you have, you are going to post it on the chat or you can talk to us directly. But even after the session, if you want to reach out to one of us, I think most of us will be okay to share the LinkedIn profile with everyone. So, ma'am, as of now, you don't have our LinkedIn profile, but I'll share everything later on separately. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll do the needful.
Okay. And I will be continuously sharing the screen. So Vishal, Anurag, Karuna, let me know when you want to move on to the next slides. I'm gonna just start with initial few slides and then I'll hand it over to Vishal to begin with. Okay.
Thanks, Rahul.
So more or less, the introduction is already covered. You can see that some of us have master's degree, some of us are still at bachelor. I would say I am the only one who's at bachelor. Um, and Vishal and myself, we came to different country on work visa, so we are not really a student who came for higher education in foreign country and then settled down here. So our knowledge about student life is quite limited, but whatever information we were able to gather, that's already covered in the presentation. Uh, Luckily for me, Karuna and Anurag, they are in Canada and came as a student, so they will be talking more. I'll be keeping my mouth shut. I'm going to move on to the next one. So as I mentioned, across the globe, you have number of options. You can think of any other countries also, Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, Europe, UK, Canada, US. But as of now, in this meeting, we will be focusing only on UK and Canada. Vishal, over to you.
Thanks, Rahul. Thanks, and thanks, Nandini ma'am. Thanks everyone for joining the session. Like I said, we'll try our best to impart the knowledge to you and help you out with your queries, questions, and whatever information that we have. So we'll just start with UK first. Uh, okay. So I was introduced, I moved to UK here in 2018, and on a work visa. So I was deputed here on a project which was basically into metals and trading, so exchanges. Uh, so I all my life I have worked into banking and finance domain. So I have a lot of knowledge on that. And if you have any questions on that, also I can help you out. Starting with the first slide, we are talking about opportunities in UK. So, we all know, UK is a very developed country. It's one of the topmost countries in the world. After US, we have so, and a lot of students are focusing on to UK for future further education and settling down, work opportunities, all those things. So in terms of four streams, here we have four streams. They now it is more of it is called as STEM technologies. So but here we have four streams which are quite popular, and there are a lot of ample of opportunities here available. One is in the technology skill. We are all in technology right now, so whether it be electronics, electrical, computers, mechanical, these technologies, there are a lot of opportunities available here. So you can coming here for masters is not that difficult because there are tons of universities available here. When we talk about universities, there are a lot of private universities, public universities. I mean, the government aided universities. We like we have in India, aided and unaided. So we have a ton of them. Those in the last probably in the last 20 years, there has 20 30 years, there has been a literally an explosion of universities, education centers all across in UK and many Western countries, because these are the hubs where education, the governments have invested a lot in education and research, and there's a lot of support here that comes. So even when you start applying in for universities in UK, you'll find hundreds of universities available. And I have a link. I'm not sure. I mean, it should be there in this slide itself. I have shared a link. In that link, it actually you can explore all the courses, and it will give you details on which universities offer those courses. So you can choose particular subjects or specialization courses, and you can actually apply to those universities. There's opportunity in terms of finance as well. So finance, when I say finance, you can come over here for MBA. There are people, not many people, but there are people who uh, study in economics, because as you know, London, it is the financial hub of the world. So now there are like Hong Kong, New York, everyone is joining and trying to come up. But if you remember, until the 90s and 2000, until 2010 itself, London was a financial hub. It is still the financial hub, but a lot of business is now spreading out. So in terms of economics, and economics is actually a stream of finance, I would say, because a lot of economists, they have joined banking sector, and they do a lot of work in finance, banking and finance. So you can come here on in banking sector by doing an MBA, or you can come here do an MBA here in finance and banking, because it's very there are a lot of banks right here in London. Literally, I have seen every global bank available here, and they have huge offices. They have a lot of staff, and they are actively recruiting. They're just constantly searching for talent. So in banking, you can come here for management courses. There are many universities that offer management courses. They range from usually all these courses, whether it's technology or banking or anything, they range from normally 1 year to 2 years or 2.5 years. So it depends on which university you take, and they have some customized courses as well for international students. For example, some of my friends here, I know, they have come here for masters and they are doing masters, but that masters courses is only 1 year. Whereas, in India, how we do is, most of the universities, when we choose masters, they have like at least a 2 years of minimum course. Here, the masters, even the master courses, they are like spread out. Like you have 1 year course, you have 2 years courses based on the curriculum and the subjects that they offer. So it depends on what specialization. So there are like masters of computer science, which covers a whole computer stream. There are different subjects. There is data with related to like network security, then data algorithms. It covers all those subjects. And there are specialized courses which covers only a particular stream. Like you want to go into network, you want to go into data, you want to go into AI, so AI and machine learning, all those things. So now we have a lot more flexibility here in terms of choosing courses and in terms of choosing the curriculum. And what they do is, for international students, they are customizing to a great extent just to attract the talent. They need a lot of students from across, and there is a lot of, we all know, there's a lot of migration of educated people that is happening from countries like India and China. So for them there is a lot of opportunities that are opened up here. The universities, they actually try to cater to these students. So if you go and check and you apply in these universities, you can get a lot more information, you can get a lot more support. So it's not like, we run this one particular course, and you have to cater, you have to adhere to it, you have to follow that course, and there won't be any changes or anything. So a lot of things are happening on that. Finance management and research. Yes, one of the things that happens in these countries is they'll invest a lot in research funds. So you get a lot of opportunity to continue for, even after masters, you get an opportunity to continue and do your PhDs here, because they invest and a lot in research. You get a lot of support. You can get an internship. You get paid a good amount in research. You can work outside. You get extended visas for it. So so you can try it. I'll share the link which I had actually, and post work visa, it should not be a problem, because whatever visa that you get, uh, you have an opportunity. What they do is, the universities give you a visa which is the student visa, but you get like 1 year or 2 years of student visa based on the length of the course, and plus that you get 1 or 2 years of visa for your post studies work. So it is something called as, they here call it as PSW. So once you complete your studies, you can actually continue on that visa, and you can start, you can find a job and you can continue that. And in fact, even the universities help you to get those visas. So you get like once you are about to finish your studies, you can apply you can ask the university, and they can sponsor you for another 2 years, so that you can work here, you can apply for a job, you can get a job, and once you are into the job, uh, the the companies, depending on your performance, your talent, your experience, the university, the companies, they can sponsor you and give you a work visa. And talking about the cost, so there are private universities here, like I said, and there are government universities. The one with the private universities is the cost and the fees structure is more or less the same. It's not much of a difference that I've spoken to friends and that I've heard about. But the risk with private universities is the biggest risk is it is a private university. You have to do a lot of research before you approach or you join a private university. It is privately owned. Tomorrow, if something happens, there's no guarantee. With government universities, they are supported by the government, and you know they have been there for quite a long time. Plus, they have a lot of courses. There are a lot of professors available who have been there for quite a long time. Private universities, they have a lot of guest lecturers and get guest professors, so who come and go. So, and also how big they are, you have to figure out. So that is one thing that have to be taken into mind when applying for these universities. Okay, Rahul, can you go on to the next slide? Rahul, you there?
Yes, I just changed the slide. Can you not see it?
Oh yeah, it's come. It just came up here.
Okay.
There is a lag.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's a bit of lag. Okay. Prerequisites. IELTS. You all must be aware. It's a basic English exam. The minimum requirement is 6.5 score, and I'm sure that we in India we study a lot of English, and 6.5 should not be a challenge. The better the score, the higher the score, the better it is. But 6.5 is something which is, according to me, should not be a problem. Transcripts and all, you all know, you can get it from the college. There's a letter of recommendation, which can be again provided by the college. So you can get it from college, you can get it from your HODs, department HODs, professors. It's the format is available out there on the internet. It's just a letter recommendation, talking about you and how brilliant you are. Your scores were good, how talented you are. So it's just one or two letters you need when applying for this universities. Courses, you can obviously check on the universities what courses or what university offers. Uh, and yeah, this is the link that I was talking about. So if you just go to the master's portal, you can get very customized information for UK. I myself checked it and I got a lot of information. So this link can be shared later, or you can just check on this link and you'll get a lot of information. Yeah, Rahul, can you move next? Okay. Sorry, I may be rushing a bit, but I just want to make sure that we have enough time for question and answer sessions, because this is something that I have prepared, but I know you guys have a lot of questions, so it is better we take up those questions to clear your doubts, because some of it you may already know. So, yeah. Okay. Visa and settlement. Like I said before, uh, student visa, you get the student visa based on your length of your course. So it is always, if it's a 1 year course, the student visa is normally 2 years, or depending on which specialization or which specific course you are doing. Because some of the courses are, and the skill set that you apply for, master skill set, are really in demand, and you may get a lengthy visa. Plus, universities also provide PSW, which is like a post studies work permit, which ranges from like 2 years to, depending on it may be like 2 years or 3 years max, not more than that, because by that time you have to settle down somewhere in a company and get a work permit from them. Work permit, it is very, I wouldn't say it is very difficult to get a work permit here, because there aren't too many requirements. You need like some English score, you need to get your degree, Indian degree, you need to get a comparison letter, which I'm sure when you come here, you will already apply and get it. So it's just a comparison between Indian degrees, Indian courses, and the UK equivalent of it. So, for example, if you do bachelor's in India, there's an UK equivalent. So there's a government portal which actually does it. So when we do bachelor's, it is good enough for here. We can get easily we can get it converted, and we can get a good score on it. And there are some points. It's now they have made it a more of a point based system. So there are some points for English language. If you have a job offer, so work permit, it should not be a challenge. You can get a work permit easily here, and it ranges. The work permit can range from like 2 years to 5 years, but you can get it renewed once you have a work permit. So you can easily get it renewed. And if you are on a UK work permit for 5 years, after 5 years, you can apply for a PLR. PR. It is year permanent residency. Here they call it ILR. It is indefinite leave, leave. Sorry, I got forgot. It is basically a permanent residency where you can stay here for all your life. You don't need to actually apply for citizenship, but you can stay here and you can work here independently. It's similar to citizenship, except that you may not get in some of the government benefits, which are exclusively for citizens. So, and once you after PR, you can, I think after 2 or 3 years, you can apply for UK citizenship, and it's pretty simple. That's no challenge. I mean, once you are here on PR, you can apply. When you apply for citizenship, they just ask you how long you have been here. There's a minimum number of days that you have to spend in the country, which if we are staying and working here, it should be enough. It should not be a challenge. Unless we go back to India for a couple of months, then there'll be a gap in between, which obviously people don't want. So it's easy to get the citizenship, and once you have a citizenship, that's it. Uh, so next slide, Rahul. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, these are the important points. Path to permanent residency. Like I said, you need to have a work permit here. So now what they have done is there are basically two kinds of work permits. One is ICT, which is when a company in India sponsors and sends it across. So it's basically a deputation. You cannot stay here for more than 5 years here. So it's a short-term work visa. You go there, you work, and you come back. And then other one is skilled worker visa. So the skilled worker visa is basically the visa which leads to a path to residency, so permanent residency. So it's a visa which is sponsored, which is given to you if you have a permanent job here in the country. So if you apply for any job in any company here, they can sponsor you a visa, and you can after 5 years on that visa, you can apply for a permanent residency. Important thing to know is not all companies have the license to give you the visa. So when you join a company, it is always worthwhile to know that the company has a license and the permit to sponsor you, because every company needs a government permission or needs a license from the government. And on the there's a website, your government website, gov.uk, which actually has a list of all those companies. So if some company tells you, yeah, we can sponsor you down the line, it does not mean, if it's a small company, it does not mean that they are going to sponsor you. You have to check if they have a license. So you have to ask them, do you have the license? Because some of my friends had faced that issue where they got hired, and then 4 or 5 months down the line, they were like, oh, we can't sponsor you because we don't have the license. Our license got expired, all those things, blah blah blah. It just just and they have to go out and find some other job. So that's important thing. Cost of living. Well, cost of living. UK is one of the most costliest country in the world. So I live in London. London is again one of the most costliest city after probably Hong Kong and New York, or maybe they are at par. I'm not sure of the latest statistics, but yes, UK is expensive. Cost of living in London is quite high, but Yes, if you are in London, London is expensive, but there are people who stay out of London and travel to London for commute. And believe me, the transportation here, the public transport is amazing. It's just awesome. You can take any train, and within 30 minutes, 40 minutes, you can travel to UK every day. It's like, just like we commute within in Mumbai. So from if you go from Borivali to Churchgate, or Borivali to Churchgate takes like 1 hour. Similarly, it's here. It takes 1 hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour door to door commute, and you're in office. You can go back home, and it should not be a problem. So commuting, you can stay out of London where where houses are cheaper. You can get bigger houses. But yeah, I mean, normally considering day-to-day expenses and all, it is a bit expensive than other countries. Job opportunities I already spoke. There are a lot of banks here in banking, in technology. All of these banks, they have technologists. There are a lot of IT companies, so you can get a lot of opportunities here. Research, they invest heavily in research, so you can get in research as well, and you can get a lot of job opportunities. If you just Even if you randomly search the portals, you'll find hundreds of opportunities. So job wise, it's never a problem. It's not like the job market is not there. Healthcare, one particular thing about UK healthcare is there's a NHS here, which is National Health System, which is basically the government sponsored health system. We do have government hospitals in India and everything, but we do have private. And government, we don't generally prefer to go into government hospitals. But here it's a totally the case, the reverse case. Here everything is government in terms of health system, and there are private hospitals, but people generally, eh, we everyone goes to the government hospital because the healthcare is totally free. No matter what problem you have, how long the cure continues, medicines are free, the hospitalization is free, everything is free. So, but we have to pay a small amount. So the government charges, just like income tax, the government charges a small amount from your salary income, which is called as national insurance. It's basically kind of an insurance. But compared to the treatment that we get, the insurance, the amount that we pay is very small. Because if you look at, if you are, if someone suffers a bigger complex issues, complex health issues, in India, if we are on private insurance, after some time we exhaust our entire insurance claim. But here it's not the case. You are totally covered. How long it may be? It may go on for months. It may go on for years. Plus, apart from that, you also get benefits. You also get support if there is any handicap issues or anything. So healthcare is there. It's government healthcare. It's very good, and it's affordable. Even in retirement, you don't have to worry that you need a private insurance. Government healthcare is always there. Work-life balance, it's very different and opposite to what we do, what we have in India. In India, we normally, work like 10 hours, 11 hours, 12 hours. Here, I've seen people, when I moved here, I was surprised. I've seen people come in at 9 and leave at 5. No matter, okay, work is there, but yeah, we can do it other day. Let's go back home. If you even go to shops and markets, they have a certain time in the evening and they close it by then. At 6 o'clock, the cafes close, the shops close. Obviously, in cities and where there are like big pubs and all, they are open till late night. But if you go to shopping malls and all, they close. So the focus, work-life balance, is very much in focus. You can take some time off if you want to spend time with family, and the companies do support. It's actually in their HR policies. It's in the government policies. If you are too stressed, you can take a break. It's not that you have to finish, you have to work, and you have to do it all. So from a personal front of view, with in terms of spending time with family, it's a great plus plus. uh, Next slide, Rahul. I think we are at the end of it.
Vishal, so hold on to this one now because we will run out of the
Okay.
time. What we can do is that everyone on the call, you can keep these points in mind, and once we reach to the Q&A section, at that time you can talk about this because uh, I think more or less we covered some of the points already. Okay. Um,
Yeah, we covered a lot. Yeah, we can go through the questions when we are done with the presentation.
Yeah. So I'm going to move on to the next one. Now, this is more
Thanks,
from,
everyone.
thanks, Vishal. This is more from Canada point of view. Anurag, if you can get started with some of the point, and then we can ask Karuna also to speak about certain aspects. Okay. Um,
Yeah,
if you want, I'll just talk about very first point,
yeah,
expectation out of the Canada.
yeah,
So here is the basic question that all the students should ask themselves, like why you want to come to Canada. I mean, of course, you have interest in higher studies. Fair enough, you can go to any other country, but why you want to come to Canada? And we'll just share the perspective. Is your expectation to settle down in Canada, work here, and retire here? Or your expectation is genuinely get a higher education, quality education, and maybe go somewhere else uh, in terms of your career, meaning go back to India for work or maybe go to some other country for work, but Canada is just for higher education or quality of education. So based on that, your decisions will vary, and maybe we will touch base about that in some other points where you will understand why that question is very important. Okay. Yes, Anurag, go on.
thanks, Rahul. Yeah, folks, I'm pretty sure we'll definitely run over time, right? So we'll, like Karuna and myself, and maybe Rahul as well, we'll try to keep it as short as possible, right? So Rahul brought up a great point that it really depends on what your expectation is. If you are expecting a much higher salary, like thinking that you'll be earning in dollars, or the life is going to be amazing out here, you have to get your expectations right as well. Yes, you'll get higher salary, but your expenses will be higher too. Um, right. In addition to that, you'll be doing a lot of things by yourselves. You won't get help. I think Karuna, you can also speak to that. You didn't do anything. You never cook food at home, and over here you are doing all of those things, right?
Yeah, and I think that's true for all the countries. But regardless, like about expectations to come to Canada, I think I would say that if even if it's just a change in life, you can come here. And even if you do not have things like cleared out in your mind, that sure, within the next 3 4 years, what am I going to do? Even if that's not clear, I think it can be a great experience just to come over here, see how things are, see how life is, what what processes there are with the government, and how the residency works and stuff like that. And after that, you can decide whether to stay here or not, which was my experience.
Yeah, thanks to touch on that one, Karuna. So folks, Karuna kind of touched upon like in general about your residency and all. Like we are not going to go in detail exactly like what the path is and everything. Canadian immigration is pretty good in that sense, right? What happens in Canadian immigration, they have everything on their website. Whatever is written on the website is pretty much updated, up to date, and you don't have to worry about things being out of sync over there, right? Now let's talk about the education. So um, the first one is like MBA or masters. So it really depends on what you guys are looking for. If you guys are looking to go into management side of things and you want to do an MBA like I did, strongly recommend get some experience and then come here. MBA without experience has got no use over here in Canada, and I'm pretty sure it might be the same thing in US as well. But if you're looking for masters and seeing that you guys are mostly from data science, and Abdullah, I know you are from theoretical something. Sorry, I
Theoretical research.
yes, theoretical research. Sorry. So for that, yes, I'm pretty sure in that case your experience might not be that much important, right? So that's how you will have to decide if you wanna like which course you wanna go for, and most of the time universities have all these details like what's the course duration, what are the credits for a certain course, what are they going to teach, who's going to teach it, and even you can ask questions to them, you can email them and they will answer you, like they will make sure they answer you, even their professors will answer you if you have certain questions about the course. I think that's how Karuna was able to get in
Mhm.
touch with the professors, right, Karuna?
Yeah, so in my case, based on the topic of interest, I was researching which professors actually work on that topic, and accordingly, I was reaching out to them, reaching out to the professors, and reaching out to the department admin office as well, where they would put me in touch with the appropriate professor, and that's how I shortlisted universities where I wanted to apply.
Yeah. And I think that, and go ahead. Somebody was saying something. Okay. So I think that is that kind of ties nicely into your post duration versus post credit. Like you will get all that information. When coming to Canada, always keep in mind if you are studying in Canada for a course which is equivalent to a 2-year course or more, you get an open work permit for 3 years uh, straight after your education. You don't have to have any other criteria, right? Which is a great thing to
Mhm.
have compared to US, or I don't know about others, but I know for US because I kind of applied there as well, and I was looking over there as well. In US, I think you don't get that work visa that easily, right? There's no sponsorship required over here. You get that open work permit. That means you can work for any company across Canada in any of the provinces. So you'll have to do a little bit research on that. Rahul has put a good point over there, like research on university and placement alumni. Like the Karuna already spoke how she did research on universities. I also spoke with alumni. So I reached out to the university and asked them, hey, can you connect me with some of your alumni so that I get a sense in terms of what the placement is going to be like, what the life is going to be like. So that's something you can do. Course co- cost of the course, that is again something which you will find mostly on the university's website. So I don't think we can cover all the universities at this time, but happy to connect afterwards.
Anurag, so sorry to interrupt here, but cost as a bullet point is basically a kind of a decision making criteria for students. So originally we said like cost of living is high and life is expensive here. Uh, the basic thought process here for this point is you are in India, you are gonna talk about INR, Indian rupees. If you want to come to Canada, any course, whether it is master or MBA, it will range from $50,000 to 100,000 Canadian dollars. So basically, we are talking about 30 to 60 lakh minimum, right? It's a huge amount. You might have to talk about education loan, or even if you have that kind of money, you also have to think of how you recover that money after your graduation, right? That's where your open work permit, course credit all comes in play, because you are spending so much of money. You don't want go back with that kind of debt, right? So the recovery factor is also important. So the objective of that bullet point is not just to research on what is the cost, but that cost, is it viable for you, and can you recover that in next 3 4 years?
Okay,
uh,
thanks, Rahul. Yeah, I mean, I'll put a little bit more of a kind of a positive spin on that one. Yes, it is daunting. There's no doubt. Like my course for 2 years was $80,000. It was like 40 lakh Indian rupees. Karuna, how much was yours?
Uh, I actually got fee waivers the first year, no, for the first 2 years, and then for the fourth year as well. And that was like $2,000 each year. And then for the third year, I paid $16,000. But I also got a teaching opportunity that kind of covered half of the cost. So it like my course was not as expensive as Anurag's.
Yeah. So the reason I wanted to bring that up is like Karuna kind of spent like $18,000, I think, in the entire 4 years. She got some teaching opportunity. I'm counting that. So her course was what, 9-10 lakh rupees. Mine was $80,000 as fees. And on I got like $20,000 of scholarship. So for me it was like 60,000 actually. And then it's about cost of living, right? Like you
Mhm.
can like my first year, I was spending 2,000 or $3,000 a month. I don't even spend it right now, like when I'm living here. And I think Karuna, you were finishing, like you're completing everything. You're living under $500 or $600 a month,
Yeah,
right?
True. Yeah.
And
And
and, and the funny thing is,
one way to really cut down on your cost is really eating at home and not outside.
absolutely, that is where all of my expenses were going, right? Like, and the fact that Karuna and myself, we were literally living in downtown, core downtown of Montreal, both living in core downtown of Montreal, and still I was spending a much more amount than her. That kind of gives you an idea how this goes around. Like, that's where you have to really push for research, reach out to people. Like, unless you reach out to your professors or those colleges, it's not gonna work out. Like, you're not gonna receive any kind of scholarships or anything. That's where you have to put yourself out. Anything else you want to add on this, Karuna?
Yeah, one thing I wanted to add about research and reaching out to professors is that at least on the research side, if anyone is thinking about PhD, um, only if you actually reach out to professors, you explain your topic of interest, you kind of send a proposal of what approximately of what kind of research you want to pursue, is when professors will consider you for next year's admission. Like they will not accept just like that if they get an application out of the blue.
Awesome. Thanks. And I think this kind of goes into the prep part of it. Thanks for touching that one, Karuna. So the best time to get your scholarships is to apply at the beginning, like at least 1 year ahead, like or the beginning of their admission cycle. So most of the universities outside of Canada or outside of India, they go for a rolling admission basis. That is, if for folks who don't know, it's they have first round of admissions in, I think, July or August for next year, August and September. During that round, they have interview candidates, they offer scholarships. Then after a couple of months, they have second round, then they have third, and maybe they'll have a fourth round, which will be like a couple of months just before the session is starting in the next year, right? Uh, as is with any of the projects, most money is given out in scholarships at the beginning of the first round. In the last round, there will be like almost no money left. You'll have to be like an amazing participant to be able to get some scholarships, which means if you're looking to start to do a course over here, you have to finish your IELTS or TOEFL or GMAT or GRE. You have to get your transcripts ready. You have to already get your letter of recommendations, everything, at least a 1 year in advance if you can. If you cannot, it's not the end of the world, but it's good to have all these things done beforehand. And so think about it this way: IELTS, GMAT, TOEFL, GRE, it doesn't matter which university you're going to apply for, they're all going to be useful. So just apply for them. Just don't worry about research at this point of time. Same goes for your transcript. And letter of recommendation is going to be more based on your for the course you're going for. So I think, Abdullah, you asked that question, whether letter of recommendation has value on candidate's profile or who has written it. I think what matters most, as I was writing about extracurricular, that letter of recommendation shows that you are a good fit for that course. It highlights your capabilities. It highlights your qualities in terms of that particular course. That's the best letter of recommendation that will have the most impact. Right, Karuna?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think we'll go to the next slide, Rahul.
Yeah, I just moved on to the next one.
Man, I thought it was a lag just between Canada and UK. It's just a lag within Toronto, it's a lag. Okay, so and so I know we are talking about like over here studying Quebec. It's partly because myself and Karuna, we both studied in Quebec, which is a province in Canada. Those who don't know, it's Canada is a dual language country, that is French and English are both official languages, and Quebec is only French state. Like, they are very proud of it. So it's very hard to find universities over there who are teaching you in English as well. Karuna, you want to talk about this one?
So for me, honestly, before coming here, I did not know much about Quebec at all. So how I landed up in McGill, which is in Montreal, and Montreal is in Quebec, is basically I was just applying for universities in the US, and I applied one university in Canada. So that is one point that should be taken into consideration, is that students should be applying to various countries and various universities just to keep their options open. And one thing about studying in Quebec is uh, it while it's hard to find universities that teach in English, but there are good universities that teach you in English, and universities like McGill and Concordia, those are one of the top ones that have good courses, and especially Concordia also because they are very up to date with the market requirements. So the kind of courses that they are very much relevant to the current professions that are needed. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up the point that in Quebec, like, and I think it kind of ties in with kind of on the permanent residency side as well. And that's also one of the factors that you have to consider. So,
Um,
every province in Canada, they have their,
Anurag,
yeah.
Anurag, sorry to interrupt, but that point we will cover later on. It's coming up in other slide.
Okay.
Let's stick to this one for now.
Okay. So, in this case, study in Quebec, there is just one, I would say, downside to it because it's a francophone province. Yeah, and you don't speak French. I think you'll have to continuously network outside in other provinces, which is a little bit difficult, but it's not impossible to get a job in Quebec. Like most of my friends who graduated with me are still working in Quebec in high paying jobs. Uh, Basically, half of them stayed in Quebec, half of them came outside, right? It's that way. And I think, Karuna, I may be wrong, but nowadays, if you are in Quebec, government actually gives you money and there is mandatory French lessons when you're studying there, right?
Yeah, it's so that they can integrate more people to the Quebec society. And also, I think once you are PR, they give you money for learning French.
Yeah. So basically, I would say if you want to learn a new language, we both speak a little bit of French. Karuna obviously speaks fluent Spanish as well. So if you're interested in learning a new language with government money, go for Quebec. But if you think you don't want to spend time learning on any new language, just focus on your studies and everything, I would recommend Quebec in Canada, right? Because it's kind of mandatory to learn French over there. Going over to co-op jobs versus internship, any another factor that you can consider while selecting a university is whether the university is eligible for co-op or your course is eligible for a co-op. So difference between, I think internship, almost everybody knows what it is. It's kind of within your college time, you can go and work for it. The only difference between co-op and internship is co-op is government is sponsored. So if for internship somebody is paying you $25 an hour, for co-op they'll be paying you like they will have to pay you only $12.5 per hour because rest $12.5 is going to be coming from government. So you can think about it for somebody who's hiring a student fresh out of it, like out of college or without any experience, you're going to end up having more chances of doing a co-op because obviously government is sponsoring it versus an internship. But needless to say, regardless, both of these things are really important because they get your foot in the door. Once you have started working somewhere, you get to make connections, you understand their system, their work. It helps you in getting a job later on.
Anurag, one question here. So, co-op opportunity versus internship, both are paid, both are at par, meaning both direction you get the same amount. Only in one case, government funds something. In other case, it's a company who is hiring you.
Yeah.
But is there a difference in credits? Like internship
Oh
gives you
yeah.
more credit versus co-op gives you less credit?
Yeah, thanks for reminding that, Rahul. So for credits, normally, as we were talking about, like these courses over here in Canada, they are credit based. So every course has like 3 or 2 or 5. It depends on the course, or 6 credits assigned to that course. Internship, because it's not government sponsored, most universities will consider internship as a credit course. That is, once you have done internship, you don't have to do a couple more courses to finish your degree. Whereas co-op, as far as my understanding goes, it will not be considered towards your credit. So if you had to take like 12 courses to finish your degree, if you do a co-op, you still have to do 12 courses. But if you do an internship, you might get away with just 10 courses. So there are pros and cons of both, and exact information will be provided by the college or university you are going to and their admission coordinators. Uh, and last but not least, I wanted to touch upon higher education versus experience. So I came with experience. I think 7 or 8 years of it. Corona came without experience. We are both kind of making the same amount of money at this time. We both graduated almost at the same time. So just wanted to bring it up out there as well. Like, it's not a thing which is set in stone that more experience gets you more money. Although what helps you is if you have experience which is relevant to the job or the course that you are looking for, or the job that you're searching for, then that's a benefit, right? But if you don't have any experience, be prepared to be treated as a fresher. And oh yeah, there is no placement here. There is no placement like India over here. Companies don't come to your college and they just take people in bulk. 90% of the placement, it happens through networking, through people applying themselves, reaching out, and things like that. Do you want to add anything to this, Karuna?
Regarding experience, I would say though that if even if your education is in one stream, it is possible to get a job in a completely different stream, and basically you get to start fresh in your career and then make a career in that particular field where you got a job. Basically, at least in my experience, you have the opportunity of moving within streams, and you can get enough experience in almost a lot of streams, except that if they're too technical, then probably not, but it's always possible.
Okay, so just because we are running out of time, I think for path to permanent residency, I will go on a very high level over here. Is that once you have done so there are multiple ways to come over to Canada. Canada is like very immigration friendly. They want people to come in. So the way Rahul came in here, like he was working for a company who sponsored his work visa to come over to Canada. Best way to come here, I would say, because you kind of come over here without having any loans, and you actually make money on your first stay here. Uh, Karuna and myself, we came here to study, and obviously in the back of our mind, it was always like we want to stay here. That was one of the reasons that I chose Canada over US, because I knew permanent residency was much easier. Like you can imagine, I came here in 2015. By 2019, I was a permanent resident, which is just 4 years, which included my education as well. And now I'm just waiting for the last step of my citizenship. So it's like really fast over here in Canada. Uh, some of the points over here, again, like if you have studied in Canada, you do get points for that education, right? And even your province. So every province can nominate. So there are federal ways in which, like federal programs in which you can apply directly, irrespective of whether you are even in Canada or not. In there's a point basis system. You can find more about it on Canadian government's website. It's like pretty simple. Everything is straightforward written there. Provincial nomination programs. I think Karuna, you went through provincial nomination program for Quebec, right? So
I went through provincial nomination. So how it works is that first Quebec selects you and they accept you as their permanent resident, but obviously it's not the Canadian permanent resident. So you kind of have to apply for the federal government permanent residency as well. Although the thing is that initially it is guaranteed, it's not based on point system. But unfortunately, what happened was once when the government changed, they removed my course as one of the accepted criteria for Quebec acceptance. So that is one point to take into consideration if thinking of going to Quebec for studies.
Yeah. So basically, the point over here is whichever province you're choosing to study in, just find out if that province is interested in nominating you. So in case of Quebec, the process is a little bit complicated. That is, you have to apply for Quebec residency first, they accept you, and then you have to apply for federal. Whereas in case of other provinces, except Quebec, every other province is straightforward, is that when you apply for federal, because it's at the central level, that's where your residency will be approved, right? Federal government. So as soon as you apply for it, if your province, like Ontario, for example, where we live now, it gives you it will nominate you. It will give you like 300 or 400 points, which is gonna take you like to the top of the entire group where they're gonna pick candidates from, right? So these are the things you have to consider. Is the course considered for provincial nomination? What's the process of provincial nomination? Is it even worth it or not? On top of it, what is the placement opportunities over there like? If you're thinking about fintech or financial sectors or service sectors, IT in general, and Ontario and Quebec both are great. Banking is primarily based out of Ontario, but yet Quebec still have things. But if you're thinking about startups in the AI and I think data sciences as well, I think Quebec and Ontario both are pretty good on that side.
And gaming as well in Quebec.
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of gaming studios are opening up in Quebec.
Yeah, so just things to keep in mind. With respect to placement statistics, this is tricky. So colleges, and not to say anything about your college, Rahul, but colleges often over here, they will actually inflate their placement statistics. They'll show you, oh, 99% people placed or whatnot. Rosy always. So the best bet you'll have is talk to an alumni, talk to people directly, like going through the college, or reach out to them on LinkedIn and tell them, hey, I'm looking to get admission in a college where I see you have graduated from. Most of the people will respond. If they don't bother about them. Just keep on trying, right? And it kind of comes back to the first point that we were talking about: research as much as you can. Every aspect of coming here has to be researched, and that's where your maximum time is going to go. If you think GRE, TOEFL, IELTS, GMAT, they're tough, oh, they are like piece of cake compared to the research that you'll have to do. And yeah, for open work permit, I think once you're finished, oh, that's important. Did I talk about this out already? Like finishing a 2 years?
You did mention, but there is little bit of extension. So the credit points that you accumulate throughout your education, that drives your open work permit. I think you have to talk about that little
Oh,
bit
yeah.
more.
So actually what happens is, if you look at Government of Canada's website, they will say that, oh, it's a 2 years course will get you at least 3 years of work permit, right? The way they consider 2 year course is based on number of credits. So I have a friend, actually, Rahul and Karuna and myself, we all have a common friend. His MBA was like just a 1 year course, but the number of credits he finished in that MBA were equivalent to the number of credits I finished in my MBA. And my MBA was only for 20 months. It was not for 24 months, right? But all of us got like 3+ years of 3 years of open work permit together. So again, when you're looking for universities, first of all, stay away from not so good universities or colleges. Always look, like you have to use really good resources such as Financial Times rating or US News rating or things like that. Because if you search best universities for this course in Canada, I'm pretty sure there will be quite a few websites will come up. And I had a friend who reached out to me and said, I'm going to do my course in information security from this particular college. I hadn't heard about that college ever. right? He told me, he gave me a list of top 10 universities and colleges, and none of them was top 10 for sure, right? So some of the top universities in Canada are University of Toronto, University of McGill, Concordia University, as she said. You can go for York University, Rutgers, not Rutgers.
Ryerson and Waterloo.
Yeah, University of Waterloo. You can go for University of British Columbia. So there are quite a few, right? So I know this is recorded, so play this recording at this time, whatever the time is, and just if these universities or courses from these universities are not in that list, you should not be looking at this list at all.
So basically, it's like any other research that you are doing. If you do Google search, the top results are paid advertisement. So don't always go with paid, top results. You have to do more research than that.
Yeah.
Don't just trust first page. That's the whole idea here.
Yep, absolutely. So I think, Rahul, we can go to the next page. Yeah, I think this is the last one, right, Rahul?
Yeah, and if you allow me to talk about this
Go
one,
ahead.
because these are all kind of negative points, and I'm good at selling that. So, so
Yeah.
before I get started, everyone, if you still have some questions, we can talk few of them right now, and then we can talk about this.
And students, don't take Rahul seriously when he's talking about negative points.
That's his specialty. Like I'm used to him, so I won't worry about it.
He is surviving means our students also can survive,
Yes, absolutely. Everybody can survive, but you have
Yeah,
to understand the ground reality and then prepare yourself
yeah, yeah,
accordingly.
yeah.
That's it. That's the whole intention of negative points. It's
Yes.
not to tell you that do not come here, you are not invited. No, that's not the intention.
Yeah. As such, a lot of disturbances in your place, Toronto.
Yeah, it's everywhere. So
Mhm.
again, not to worry about that.
Yeah.
So anyone get any
Yeah.
question?
Questions, students, questions.
Some of them are in the chat. I think most of it we covered. Sahil, you had a question about something very specific to UK and Scotland,
I
right?
think it's for Vishal. I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah, go on.
yeah. So if we want to, if we just go through the chat, and if there are some want to take some questions on UK or in general regarding higher studies, we can take them up if they are not covered actually. So one of the question I see from Sahil is, I wanted to get some info in MSc in computer science in UK. So like I said, there are tons of universities already available here. There's a link in my website, in not sorry, in my presentation. You can go through that link. You can search specifically for the subjects that you are looking for, or courses that you are looking for, and it actually has that information on if you can it can give you a list of universities that that do it. Now again, like Anurag pointed out, in case of Canada, I it I would also raise the same point and expect you guys to do a fair amount of research, because there are a lot of universities which do a lot of marketing to get students in, but they may not be the best. So they spend a lot of money to get students in, but they may not be the best. They may not be the top universities. It's just for attracting international students, and we as an international student, we really don't know if I call something like University of London, but that University of London may not be actually a very good government sponsored university. It just because then it has a name London, it does not mean it's very old, very reputed university. So do a very good research on those. I know few people who have actually lost their money in by getting admitted to fake universities or universities which shut down within few months, and that money is all gone. You don't go get that money back. You don't have a choice. You file n number of lawsuits and cases and everything, but it's all down the drain. So do a very good amount of research. That has happened in many countries actually. So just make sure whatever university you go, it's genuine, it's accurate, it's proper, and it has a very good reputation. It is there for at least 15, 20 years or more than that. Master in computer science courses in UK, like I said, you go through the university. There's one I know here, Luton University. It is a very good one. It is one of among the top 10 universities in London, near London. So go through that. Just check because they have a couple of courses out there, and they do have placements here. So placements do come in the universities. So you can get internship opportunities. You can talk to the university and they'll give you internship. Now that internships can be either in between the courses where you take a break and you go for 3 month, 1 month, 3 month internships, and you can also get paid probably depending on the arrangement. And you can you can come back, finish your education, and during those internships, if you are lucky, you may even land an offer in their company for joining back once you finish your courses. There's a lot of people, a lot of interns in my company, I know they are doing that. That is a plus point. uh, Another thing is a few of the points I'm picking up from what Karuna and Anurag spoke. Working while you are studying here, you get 20 hours to work, 20 hours a week. You can work on or off the university depending on what the university permits, but you can work for 20 hours. Yeah. Any other questions? If there are any UK specific. Okay. On-campus placements, I spoke.
Something like racial,
Guys,
racist.
sorry to cut you
Okay.
off.
I
Sorry,
would
Vishal, sorry, just to cut you off. Myself and Karuna, we both have to drop off. It's like kind of hard stop. I have already put my LinkedIn on the chat, and Karuna, you can also share if you want your LinkedIn on the chat. So please feel free to reach out to us. And any questions, like I'm pretty sure you guys have tons of questions. Don't shy away. Send a connection request to us. Write a small blog, like because we don't know you, so just write a small blog like who you are and why you are connecting with us while you're sending the request, and we will definitely connect with you. In case for whatever reason we are not connecting and you're still not able to have conversation with us on LinkedIn, reach out to Nandini. I'm pretty sure she'll help you reach out to Rahul, and Rahul will make sure that I or Karuna answer your questions. So yeah, thanks again, everyone. Thank you, Rahul. Thanks, Nandini.
Thank you, Anurag and Karuna.
Thanks,
It was
thanks, Anurag.
nice talking to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Vishal, you have some time. We can stay for another 5-10 minutes, or you also have to drop off?
Yeah, I can stay. It's fine. I can stay.
Okay. So I think more or less the questions are answered, right?
Yeah.
Vishal, did you check out Sahil's questions? He was
Sahil's question. Yeah, his question was on computer science. Like I said, there's a link which I shared. Because I cannot vouch or I cannot, recommend any specific universities. I didn't study here, but I can, that link has good information.
I think he has raised a hand. Yeah, Sahil, you can unmute and you can talk.
Hello, sir. It's Sahil this side. Actually, I wanted to know about Scotland as well. For Masters in Computer Science, I've raised 2 more questions in the chat box regarding that. So.
Okay. Okay. So Scotland, it's all part of United Kingdom. Scotland, you go to Scotland, England, it's one and the same thing. There is one government. Scotland, there is a small government which has its own prime minister, but what we as a whole, it's the UK prime minister and the UK government that matters. There are some variations in courses and in some policies, government rules in between Scotland and England. So London is in England, but they don't really matter. They don't make a very big difference here. Okay. So universities, I know there is University of Edinburgh in Scotland. There is one in Glasgow. You can try and check out the reviews. Yeah. But
I think he's
honestly,
specifically asking for some college.
Yeah.
Sun, you can come out with the college. Which college
I,
you are asking for?
okay, I can't see it in the
Yeah, I've
chat
checked
actually.
out
So
those two universities over the internet, and I wanted to
Rahul,
know
can
more
you
about them.
just show the comment section? I think yeah, you are asking about some. Sahil, you can just name the colleges you are asking for.
Yeah, University of Strathclyde and University of Dundee. These two I checked them out on the internet, but still I wanted to know more about the job opportunities and the culture and cost of living, everything.
okay,
Uh,
okay. So I don't know about this university, so I can't make any
So
comments on this actually.
yeah,
Uh,
Vishal, sorry. So see, you have to understand one thing. As in entire discussion, we were saying that a lot of research is required. Your interest, your stamina about the cost, and which country you are selecting. So only Karuna and Anurag, they came to Canada as a student, so they can share more information about colleges. Vishal and myself, we were not part of the education system here. We are directly settled down here with job, so we can give you a life experience, but we will not be able to talk more about the colleges or courses or which one to pick and on what basis.
no, I
So
think Vishal
yeah.
can go through the colleges once, and I think he can. I can post him the questions once again. The
yeah,
colleges, the name.
yeah,
Just you,
but
Yeah,
the
can you
the
you
thing
have
inquire
is,
to.
the courses? What he's asking for?
no, no,
No.
see, I cannot, like I said, I cannot recommend any university or colleges because these one again, I haven't heard of it. I didn't study here,
Uh-huh.
and I'm based in London, and these colleges are spread out across UK. So it requires thorough research actually. So and thorough
So
research
how
going through
you
government
suggest
websites
him
as well.
to go about it? I mean, if he wants to know about these universities sitting in India, so how you ask him to do that?
Um, uh,
Okay,
Vishal, can I suggest one thing? So the way Anurag
yeah.
and Karuna mentioned, go to the university website, find out the professor names, go to LinkedIn, reach out to them, or go to LinkedIn, find out the college itself, and then find out the alumni and reach out to them. Many people will respond, few will not respond, which is okay. It's not a blocker for you. You
Then
have to talk
what
to
about the
people.
rating? I mean, as you said that the rating may not be the one which Google shows us. So
Correct.
how
So
So
a
that's the
continuous
problem.
student will
That's why
know
I
no,
what?
asked
no, yeah,
these two questions. Yeah.
fair enough, fair enough.
Okay.
So let me
Mhm.
just
So
clarify one thing. Vishal have shared a link here. This one will tell you the college with rating. Similarly, Anurag have also shared a link. It's unfortunately not there in my presentation, but I'll include that.
So, but I
US.
think it's for UK. Is it including Scotland, Vishal?
yeah, so when UK, when you say UK, it includes England, England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales.
Wait, yeah.
So there are four
Okay.
countries that are part of UK.
Okay. So
So
each and every
okay,
college will be there in that link.
yeah, it will be there. So this is a generic portal, and it will have information all the courses and all the colleges that are there. Okay,
Okay.
and another thing that I wanted to make a point is, uh, you do your research through these multiple portals. You can also go and search in Facebook. Everyone is on Facebook. You can search in Facebook for students groups. So there are a lot of student communities on Facebook specific to UK. You can join those groups. You can post your questions. A lot of students who have come here, they will, if they know, if they have studied there, they'll respond and they'll help you out. They'll even send you a separate message, and you can directly talk to them. So nowadays, I mean, when we passed out from college, we didn't have the social media platforms. Now you have n number of social media platforms where these communities exist, and a lot of these communities, they are actually moderated. So there'll be not like any random guy responding. These moderated communities will be able to provide some information. So try them out, reach them out, and you'll get the information. So so these are the ways of doing a research. You know, uh, going through social media communities, LinkedIn, reaching out to professors from the college list. There are alumni portals, reaching out to the alumni. You can, once you find the name of the alumni as well, you can search Facebook and LinkedIn, and you can even reach out to them with a small message giving an introduction that I am so and so, and I am planning to do this. If you have some time, if you can spare some time answering my questions.
Okay, sir. Sir, I have one final question. If we have to compare Scotland with England for masters, can you give a brief overview of that, like Scotland versus England? So,
Uh, no, again, it's specifically education related. See, universities, you have to check the rating. So there's nothing like Scotland has better universities than England, and England has better. You just have to compare the universities and on their ratings and come and see it. I mean, there's no actual country-wise comparison that happens here. It's university. For UK, everything is the same. Whether university is in Scotland or in England, when they do a rating, they don't consider the location of the university.
okay, sir. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, over to Canada now.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, there's one question with Nandini ma'am. You asked, and I want to actually respond to that specifically
Yeah,
regarding that racism thing. Okay.
yeah. Actually, one
So
student asked.
yeah. So I would not recommend or suggest going into any of the racism news articles that you see across in UK or Canada, because what happens is a lot of these news articles, they are highly politicized, and they are promoted specifically by these news agencies.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's one or two incident, and
Mm.
they people can make a molehill out of a small mole. So
Yeah.
I would not suggest going into that. uh, See, my honest opinion, or my honest experience, personal experience is racism exists everywhere. I have experienced racism in my job in India, in my first job, and I have experienced it. So it's not just that racism happens across in England and in UK or Canada or everywhere. It happens. Racism exists in India as well. In India, we have such a diversity, and racism is bound to happen. So it happens here as well. But yeah, people
Better to
are
ignore.
more professional here.
Mhm.
People are more professional here. If you go to a university, they'll be more professional. There are a few crazy guys who still have that attitude, but people are more professional. There are departments in universities that can handle this kind of things. If you reach out to them, if you face any abuse or racism, you can reach out to them. Even in corporates, in companies, you can reach out to them, you can escalate them, and they will definitely look into it seriously, and they'll take care of it. So just thinking about those things, don't think that, okay, I should not go here. There's a lot of racism here.
Yeah,
There are
yeah.
people who are
It's
happy,
better to
who
ignore
have
that
got,
and go ahead.
yeah, yeah. And the best examples would be, there are a lot of Indian CEOs across the world. If there had been a very strong racism, they wouldn't have reached the CEO position. Google, IBM, they all have Indian CEOs, right? Adobe has Indian CEO. So Microsoft has Indian CEO. If there was racism, there was such a scenario, they wouldn't have reached that heights.
But
So don't ignore the
Rishi,
news.
Rishi is
So
on a lost out.
Yeah, see, that's a different story. It's politics. That's a different thing. It's politics.
Yeah, yeah. No problem.
I would say more than racism, you should focus on doing research on uh, area where you are going to stay. Is it safe enough? Because see, again, crime happens everywhere. There were some incident happened in Toronto where some student who came here for like 3 4 months and he was shot, right? So of course that is little bit a tricky situation. You have to be careful where you want to stay, and at times we will be driven by the cost of living. So you will say, okay, this location is very cheap, I'll go and live there. But you have to be careful because there are all kind of people everywhere. uh, when we are in western side, it doesn't mean that this country is all good for everyone. So there are people who are poor, there are people who do not have sufficient money, so they are driven by that intention. So you have to consider safety. Do not try to save money on certain aspects.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And
So
Again,
Be
like
in
for
mind, yeah.
example, when I came here, in Toronto itself, there are certain pockets where it's not safe. And there is a website where you can just search safe area or unsafe area in Toronto. It gives you the intensity of unsafety or safety in form of color coding. So we can choose not to live in such area, even though it is very, very cheap to live there. If you go that
Yeah.
route, then it is your decision and you are at fault, right? I mean, of course, the person who committed the crime is also at fault, but you had a choice, right? You could have done your proper research, you could have stayed away from that location.
Yeah, and see, looking at the crime, I mean, you know how these news websites. So if a Canadian guy is shot, they'll say, okay, someone got killed. If an Indian guy is shot, the news agency will like, one Indian got shot, and that becomes like a racism. So don't fall for that. It There are a lot of Canadians or UK here. There are crimes happening here, but news agencies, how they project the news, that matters. They'll If they go by the race or the caste of the person, then it becomes a racism crime, but it was not at that intention. The person who committed the crime may not have intended to do it that way, but because the news agencies, they presented the news in that way, it becomes like, oh no, it's a hate crime, it's a racism and all those things. So choose, like Rahul said, choose the location and the area very wisely. You can explore, and plus there are student forums in every country. There are student forums. You can reach out to them and they can help you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming back to couple of last points, and there might be some overlap here, Vishal, so you can talk for UK. I'll just touch the couple of points here. So Canada, in general, entire country is very cold. Okay. So weather is a important factor. There are a lot of people who come here, and then in 3 4 5 months they don't like it and they go back. So honestly speaking, entire Canada in winter time is cold. The maximum positive temperature in winter time you will face or feel is -5 on extreme west side of the country. That too also very specific cities like Vancouver. But other than that, everything is -10, 20, -30, -40, something like that. Second very
uh,
important point is about being self-sufficient. So Anurag and Karuna, they mentioned about their cost of living. Same city, but very different lifestyle. Uh, you have to learn how to cook, you have to learn how to clean, and you have to be self-sufficient. If you keep buying food from outside, it's not healthy and it's expensive, and you will be having financial problems. Whether you are student or you are employed already, both way it is still a problem. Even after settling down here for so many years, we have to choose carefully when and where we want to eat outside. We don't eat outside every day. Maybe once in 15 days or something. That is what we do. So that is also very, very important point, because in India we have a lot of help. There may be many people who will not be even picking up the glass for water. They will be getting the water from some help, right? So that's not going to work here. If you are that kind of person, you will have extremely hard time settling down here.
yeah, just to add to what Rahul said is, yes, self-sufficiency is important. In India, we live with our parents. We are born with that. We are born and brought up that way, that we don't have to do anything. We don't have to wash our clothes. We don't have to do clean the rooms, everything. We have maids for everything. Nowadays, we have maids for cooking as well. So sometimes even our parents don't have to cook. But here, you have to do everything. You have If you settle down, you have when you get married, you have kids, you have to take care of them. You don't get maids, you don't get nannies. You have to cook, clean everything on your own. Even when you are a student, you have to manage on your own. Eating out is not really an option. It will be, or it may be, very expensive. So you have to cook at home and manage your budget. Budgeting is very important. Whatever resources, money you have to plan it and you have to spend it wisely. Save it so that you, at the end of a month, you have some amount, or at the end of 3 4 months, you have some amount that you can, pay the next semester's university fees partially from here itself. You don't have to, call India and ask for funds or resources from your parents, because every Canadian dollar, every UK pound, it costs a lot in India. So 100,000 rupees in India, here it is just 1,000 pounds. And it's not a very big amount. 1,000 pounds is, you can live with for a month or maybe maximum a month, but not more than that. And India, 100,000 rupees is a big amount. Plus, you have to understand one thing. It's my personal experience as well. We in India, we don't normally, buy second-hand goods or, clothes or jackets or anything, winter jackets and all those things, shoes and all. Here it is furniture and all. Here it is a big market. As a student, as a newcomer, if we are short on budget, there are a lot of people who sell or give away used furnitures, good condition furnitures, good condition jackets for winters, especially winters. Here winters are very harsh. You need good jackets. The one that you get from India, they won't even last the autumn here. So -10 and -15 is altogether different case. So a lot of people who actually sell them out, who give them away, there is no shame, there is no embarrassment in getting it, using them. There is no embarrassment in using a used furniture that someone has left out or someone gives away. You know, it is always survival is the most important thing. So be prepared when you come here. Be prepared. You have to survive in one of the worst cases as well. It's not like I don't have clothes. I don't have money. Let me get some money from India. Every rupee, every pound that you get or dollar that you get, it is going to cost a lot more back in India. So here, you have to look out for cheap options. There are a lot of sales, a lot of cheap options for clothes, furniture, laptops, notebooks you'll get, and you'll get a lot of scholarships, you'll get a lot of discounts. Try to find them, keep looking for them, try to find them and use them as much as you can, because that will keep you going until you graduate, you study, and you find a job where you have enough money to pay for your expenses. Until then, survival is very important.
Um, Next item is distance from India. So UK is not that far away, like 8 to 10 hours of travel. Maybe some people will say okay. Canada is a different story. So once you reach to Canada, and if you are like much more closely attached to your family and you want to go back every year, it will be hard decision because it's expensive. You might not have that much of time also every year as a while taking the vacation, either as a student or a settled person. So uh, you have to think about it, like can you live without your family, parents, siblings for long time. For example, I came to India in 2015, then 2020, so 5 years, right? I don't have any plan to come every year. So, and I'm okay. My family in India is also okay, but that might not be the case with everyone.
Yeah. So, like Rahul said, UK is much closer to India, but still, the cost of traveling it adds the time that you have every year. So you get like 20. I mean, while you are studying, there are term breaks which are 1 week, 2 weeks, depending on how big the term is. There are often 3 week term breaks, but then traveling back to India and coming back is a very costly thing. You also lose a lot of time if you travel, because in India, when you travel, you are at a luxury. You go there, relax with your friends, chill out. But that same 3 weeks, if you are here, you can utilize by working and earning some money, which will make you go long time. Which will make it easier for you to survive. There's a lot of technology nowadays we have available. We have video calls, everything to keep in touch with our families. But yes, it is still far. You can't meet them in person. So that is one factor. And as and when once you start working, you'll get less time. Once you may go once a year, you may go once 2 years to India. I myself, I came here in 2018. I was planning to go back to India to meet my family. It's been 4 years, more than 4 years. I haven't got a chance to go back. I mean, part of it, pandemic is responsible for part of it. We lost like 2 years in pandemic, which due to which we could not travel. But still, it's difficult to travel. Plus, you also have to plan your holidays. You'll try to take some time out. Explore the country where you stay in. You plan to explore UK. You plan to explore Canada, wherever you stay. But If you travel to India, you'll miss out on those opportunities. So that's something. Weather point, I forgot to touch base on that, which Rahul mentioned. In addition to being cold, let me point you the most thing that people feel depressing in this country is. I'm just not making it very negative. I'm sorry. I'm trying to not make it very negative. Is uh, it's a lot of darkness. The sun does not shine very long in winters. So in winters we hardly get like 3 or 4 hours of sunlight, and for many people it is a bit depressing. So apart from being cold, I mean, you have heaters in home and everywhere, so it's mixed. It is very comfortable. You can be in your pajamas in home, at home, but or in universities as well. Everywhere the heaters are running, but it is dark. You won't see sunlight every day while you are in winter. Here it is like roughly 6 7 months of winter. In Canada, it may be a longer winter, but yeah, it's roughly 7 8 months of winter sometimes. So you won't see a lot of sunlight. It's like there is the sunshine. The sun rises somewhere in winters. It rises at 8:30 9 o'clock in the morning, and it sets at almost 3 o'clock. But even during those hours, there is hardly any sunlight coming in, which sometimes leads to depression in many people if they are constantly at home, if they are not occupied. So you have to be prepared because in India it's always sunny.
Yeah, so I think that should be it. Let us know if you have any question. We can answer that in next 5 minutes. Or I did share the links that we have in this presentation.
Yeah,
Ma'am, I'll
can you
share
just
this.
go that those links, whatever you shared, can you just talk about it a little bit for the students?
Okay, so UK one, Vishal already said this is the site where you can go for the list of universities. Similarly, this link was given to me by Anurag. This one, especially US News. This is a global information. Meaning, in here, if you go, you have to go and select the country, and then you can find out the top universities over here. So, meaning, if you want to do research on US based university or Canada based university, this is the same link. And then this
Okay.
site is a more of a visa process and immigration. But if you go to this site in forum section, there is a student section over there, so you can reach out to other students from uh, all across the world who are studying in Canada, and they can guide you or answer some of your questions.
Okay. Okay.
This is
Okay.
the
Any
very
questions?
important site from my point of view, because I use this
Hmm.
site for my permanent residency and citizenship. See, you do not have to
Okay.
go to any agent and spend money on applying for student permits or work permit or PR. Um, Canadian or Western countries websites are quite self-explanatory. You just have to read it once. If you don't understand, read it twice. If you still have doubt on certain forms, post a question on this forum and somebody will answer that. So you don't have to spend lakhs of rupees to agents who almost does nothing.
Okay. Okay. And this updated
Yeah.
slide
On
you will be sending me, na? I
Yes, I
can.
will be sending it, and I'll include the LinkedIn profile link for all of us somewhere here.
Okay. Okay.
So you can reach out to all of us, but because you are looking more from the study point of view, as Anurag suggested, you have to reach out to alumni of particular university. Um, so that research is on you. You will have to do that.
Okay. Okay. Fine. And any questions?
Rahul, Rahul, sorry, Rahul, can you add one more website which is gov.uk, gov.uk? It is the UK government website, and it is a literally one website for all the information for UK government from UK government, which it may be related to visa, studies, taxation, everything is there on this website. So it is gov.uk,
Okay.
and
Uh,
it is a government website, so whatever you get from it, you can trust it blindly. The information is always updated on it, and it is you can take that information, you can argue anywhere, even with the government based on that information. So
Yeah. So similarly, we also have Canadian government website where you can look for all kind of information. But this is not for education purpose. This is more for overall settlement like taxes, immigration forms, student visa forms, all the forms that you have to download for legal point of view will be available here. But your research work, which is more of shortlisting university, is here. And then any question if you have and you need help, this is a free forum. Just register yourself and people will be ready to help you out. And my personal suggestion, do not pay any additional extra cost to any agent for such kind of help, because you will be able to get all the kind of free help here. So do not
Yeah.
fall into that trap.
Yeah. One point which I would like to touch is we did not mention, I mean, is we often ask for a lot of consulting agencies in India to help for file the visa and apply for universities. They do help, but a lot of these consultancies, they have connections abroad in many of the universities, and they are kind of you know paid commissions, or they make some money and reputation out of it. Okay, so just choose the consultancies widely. Don't go 100% by their word or by their recommendations. Do your research. Filing a visa again is not a very complex process. Every information, everything is available on the website. These companies, they do charge a lot of money for filing your visa application and all. If you go on the website, you can in fact do it on your own as well. You don't really need help. But if you are in doubt, you think that you don't want to risk it, you can obviously go through them. Uh, and another thing is visa rejections. Uh, Visa rejections normally they don't happen for UK. I don't know about Canada, but for UK they don't generally happen if all your documents are in order. You get visas within, like, once you apply, you get it like within 3 or 4 weeks. You get the decision and the approval. And the another good part is, if there is some issue for some reason your visa gets rejected or something, they will actually give you the justification and the reason, and you can query, you can question them what is wrong and what is happening, why is it not approved. So unlike US, where in US you just go to an interview and they if they don't like your face, they'll simply reject it. They won't give an answer and you cannot ask them. I mean, in US, everyone knows that happens. Visa rejections are highest. Be whatever visa it is, but in UK, it is not the case.
Okay,
So
okay.
make sure your documents are in order, and you can apply. And visa websites also, you check. It is very simple, not very complicated. Just ensure you have all the information in hand. And like I mentioned, Rahul also mentioned, get in touch with alumni guys who have actually applied for visas and who have come here for studies. So they'll be able to assist you.
Okay. Students' feedback form has been posted, so you can fill it up and you'll get certificates out of it. Any other questions if you have? Anybody can unmute yourself and you can talk. Okay, then we wrap it up here. Vinayak uh, or Sanjal, who's
Yes,
giving
ma'am.
the vote of thanks? Yeah, yeah,
Ma'am Sanjal.
yeah. Sanjal, you can give the vote of
Yes,
thanks. And before giving the vote of thanks, I would like everybody to switch on your videos. We can have a pic. Abhishek, can you take a picture? Rahul, can you may stop presenting so that we can have a picture of all.
Okay.
Yeah. Abhishek.
Yes, ma'am. I'm changing
हाँ
the grid
हाँ
layout.
हाँ इसमें गूगल में ये कर ले सबसे ज्यादा लेने के लिए चेंज कर दे वो. Switch on your videos, dear. Students, switch on your videos. Faculties, switch on your videos.
It's been 16 years, ma'am.
Yeah,
We left the college 16 years.
16 years. And I told Gauli sir and Chitra madam also. चित्रा मैडम भूल गई, इसके लिए ज्वाइन नहीं कर पा, अभी उनका मैसेज आया कि मैं भूल गई था करके, नहीं तो मैं ज्वाइन हो जाती.
नहीं कोई नहीं.
हाँ. या अभिषेक दिख रहा है क्या सबको? I mean, my laptop, my connection is very poor. I can only see few faces.
And there are very few faces.
Okay, you try. Even I am trying to take a pic. No, my face will not come. Yeah. Students, video on, please. I can see few faces. We don't mind your dresses today, Saturday. You may just switch on your videos. Fatafat karo, jaldi. I need to take a pic. Abhishek, you also take, huh?
Yeah, ma'am, I'm taking.
खुशहाली, प्रिया, आरती, तुम लोग एक देखो कोशिश करके, तुम्हारे स्क्रीन में आ रहा है क्या ज्यादा? Anybody is on laptop, students, you may also try to take pics. तन्मयी, तेरे सामने लैपटॉप है क्या? क्योंकि तू दिख रही है मुझे. Okay, Amok, thank you very much. So over to Sanjal.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I am Sanjal Gaude. Would like to extend the vote of thanks for this session. On behalf of Lokmanya Tilak College of Engineering, I would like to thank our eminent guest speaker, Mr. Anurag Agrawal, Mr. Rahul Shah, Mr. Vishal Mehta, and Ms. Karuna Warrier for guiding and enlightening us with their knowledge. Thank you so much for taking your valuable time from your busy schedule. I would like to thank the training and placement session in association with Data Science Engineering Department for arranging this program. I would like to extend my thanks to our Training and Placement Officer, Prerna Madam, HOD of Data Science, Nandini Madam, and Training and Placement Coordinator, Roshali Madam, all the HODs, faculties from another department. I would like to thank our Principal, Dr. Vivek Sunna Pawar Sir, Vice Principal, Dr. Subhash Shinde Sir, for supporting and encouraging us to arrange such a wonderful information on abroad studies. I would like to thank all the HODs, all the faculties of all the departments from the LTCE family. And of course, I would like to thank all the participants for the active participation in the abroad studies session. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Vishal. Okay, and you people keep in touch. Rahul to rehta hai, ya Vishal, you also keep in touch. I know
sure, madam.
You people are family
Thank
man
you
now,
so much.
and I know once you have a family, it's really hard to, maintain all the contacts. But do keep in touch, okay?
Yeah,
विशाल
sure,
विशाल
ma'am.
को एक्सक्यूज मिल गया ऑलरेडी, आपने दे दिया मैम.
No, it was actually a good opportunity. Thank you, Rahul. I am now connected again. So yeah, I am traveling to Mumbai in November. So hopefully I'll try to make it to college if possible.
Come to college. Yeah, yes, do come to college.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, let us know with our questions. If you have any, we'll try to help as much as possible.
Yes,
And
I'll
all
do
the best. Yeah.
I'll just collect the questions. If any, I'll post it to you then. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Vishal.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks.
All participants, all students. Thank you, faculties. We sign out now. Okay. Bye.
Bye. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Take care.